Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Acupuncture's My Life. Now, I know I've been away for a while. That's because I'm opening up another Acupuncture's My Life clinic, but this time in Brooklyn, New York. I mean, there's been a huge demand for my services throughout New York City and even beyond, but right now I'm licensed in the state of New York, and there's only one of me, so I choose to just remain in New York. And I want to say thank you to all my patients who fly in from other countries just to see me, and for visits pertaining to autoimmune disorders, chronic illnesses, cancer, and more. And I'm gonna try my best to keep serving you guys as best as I can. But I will say this to those that do listen to the Acupuncture's My Life podcast. Life is about balance, and I know some of you guys get upset because I'm overbooked for several weeks or several months at a time. I also have to allow myself to relax and enjoy the yin aspect of life, because that's the nourishing aspect. That's when, a person tends to rejuvenate via rest or through rest. But I do try my best. And the clinic that I'm opening in Brooklyn, New York, focuses heavily on cardiac care with acupuncture. Huge demand for that. I noticed an increase in patients in my Queens, New York clinic, and then getting calls and people traveling from Brooklyn, Manhattan, Bronx, and Staten Island to come and see me and seek treatment, rather, pertaining to some type of heart issue, cardiac issue in which they're suffering from. So I said then I'll just open a cardiac care traditional Chinese medicine clinic in New York City, and it'll just focus on that. And I'm working together also with a cardiologist and cardiac nurse practitioners and other holistic practitioners as well. So individuals should receive, I expect that they will receive great benefit in coming to that clinic if they suffer from some type of heart ailment. But now I want to jump into today's podcast, and today's discussion will address foods that are tough on your heart. It really puts a strain on your heart, and why you should possibly think twice before eating these types of foods. And along with thinking twice, you can sit with your acupuncturist and ask him or her, what do they recommend? Because maintaining a heart-healthy diet is a truly effective way outside of acupuncture and protecting yourself from long-term health risks. Now, I'm not going to make this an all-out Eastern nutrition episode, but there will be some Eastern nutrition aspects embedded in this episode. But you see, there's certain foods that can increase a great deal the chances of heart-related issues such as high blood pressure, atherosclerosis, arrhythmias, more, even heart disease. And some of the foods I'll discuss, many individuals globally regularly consume these foods. And you'll get advice, all right, limit it, everything in moderation and so forth. No. work toward removing them from your diet so that you're not overly concerned about its impact in the long term and if you're eating too much of it. But in jumping into the foods, I'm going to start out with bacon. Okay. Now, bacon, one, is loaded with saturated fat, which can increase your risk of heart disease. Now, I know bacon is irresistible. You know, we remember when we were children, you know, either our grandparents or parents would be in the kitchen cooking bacon and eggs for breakfast, possibly with some polenta or whatever. And that smell, you know, as a kid would always get me out of bed on the quickness. You know, I go running downstairs and I'm ready. I am ready, you know, and I'd always get yelled at, go back upstairs. First of all, brush your teeth. Get yourself prepared for breakfast so that, you know, after I eat, then I can completely, you know, bathe or whatever to start my day, because I was always a late riser when I was a kid, because the night before I stayed up late playing or doing whatever. But I'll tell you this. Bacon has a high fat content. And it's a huge contributor to atherosclerosis because it can clog your arteries over time. And not only that, bacon is packed with sodium, which can lead to high blood pressure and stroke. So you want to think twice about consuming bacon. And, you know, I do get feedback when I talk to some of my patients about it. And I'll hear, what about turkey bacon? No. Are you frying it? You're frying it. And I hate to hear, all right, doc, I won't fry it. I'll mic it. I'll put it in the microwave. Forget about it. That's like even worse. If you have a microwave in your kitchen, pause this episode, go in your kitchen, unplug it, and walk it out curbside so the trash man can come get it. Because that microwave is doing you so much harm with, in my opinion, absolutely no good attached to it. Okay? So keep that in mind. Now, I've been asked about red meats. Now, the fact that the meat is red is that color of food that aligns itself with the heart. So I have, in my opinion, I should simply say, red meat has its good. And in some cases, depending on the type of red meat that you consume, it has its bad, such as, let's say, for instance, pork. But now pork isn't totally bad. I mean, it has its benefits. And I'll do a separate episode on that because I'm questioned about pork a lot. But you want quality red meat in your diet, but not too much. But when it does come to meat, I will say stay away from processed meats at all costs. And I'm talking about deli meats, hot dogs, sausages. Avoid those. I mean, those are the worst, or some of the worst, when it comes to basic heart health. And you see, these foods with high levels of sodium and fats and so forth, and I'm not going to say fats are bad for you. Healthy fats are very, very good for you. Especially like, for example, you get from eating nuts such as pistachios or avocados, things of that nature. So when some people hear fats, you know, they get scared, they want to run away. It's the type of fat that you want to avoid because, you know, unhealthy fats or excess sodium and preservatives negatively impacts the chi of your heart. Now, some may ask, like, what do you mean when you say the chi of your heart? I'm talking about the energy, which is basically the heart's conduction system, which will include that natural pacemaker in your heart because it's generating energy for your heart to function. And I'm talking about all the way down to the cellular level, that being your mitochondria. Those things represent chi. So when I say chi, it's synonymous with energy or life force. Okay? But processed meats are horrible. Loaded with sodium, preservatives, contributes to high blood pressure, and it increases your risk of heart disease. And I'm not going to buy into or stand for supporting, consuming it once in a blue. No, just, again, try and remove it from your diet. Another food source that appears harmless. And, I did a TikTok on this. And if you're not following me on TikTok, follow Acupuncture's My Life on TikTok. But I did a TikTok on white rice. And I think a little over 9 million people viewed that TikTok episode and ripped me apart. I'll start by saying this. If you love rice, consider switching to organic brown rice. You have questions about that? You can simply go to acupuncturesmylife.com, schedule a virtual consultation session with me, and we can sit and discuss the importance of brown rice in detail, as well as other foods in which you can benefit from, relative to your constitution and or ailment in which you may suffer from. But white rice, to a lot of people, it seems harmless, but start here. It lacks fiber, little to no essential nutrients, because it's all been removed when it's been processed. So now it becomes a high glycemic form of food that can cause your blood sugar to spike, leading to weight gain, potentially insulin resistance, which both put a strain on your heart. You don't want to do brown rice, do some quinoa or some whole grains, which will definitely add more nutrients to your diet, as well as support better heart health. Another is pizza. Now, I know you college kids especially are going to get upset with me on that one. Stay away from pizza. Avoid pizza at all costs. I mean, you're eating cardboard with white and red and orange glue splattered around on top of it, with some red circular plastic. And that red circular plastic can be like the pastrami. Or is it pastrami? No. What would it be? I don't know. I haven't eaten pizza in, I'd say a little more than 2 decades. When I learned how bad it was, along with being loaded with saturated fat and sodium and all types of refined carbohydrates, with the little red circles like processed meat, the fake cheese, and white flour, sending your blood sugar through the roof. It's not good for your heart. Stay away from pizza. Don't touch it. Pizza has a huge negative impact on your cardiovascular system. And I've seen guys load up on pizza and say, yeah, now let me hit the gym. I got my fuel source. You got your fuel source? Really? So why don't you just take a bottle of soda and just pour it in your gas tank and try and drive on that and say, hey, my car has its fuel source. Your car will let you know real quick what it thinks of that fuel source that you put into it. So don't do yourself a disservice. Okay? And another, I know I'm going to say fried foods. French fries, fried chicken, onion rings, soaked in unhealthy oils. These things contribute to chronic inflammation, which eventually wreaks havoc on the endothelial lining of your blood vessels. There's inflammation because of the inflammatory response. And you keep eating this, and before you know it, atherosclerosis. Your arteries are clogged. You're now at an increased risk of heart disease and stroke. And I don't want to hear anything about air fryers. Save that. Don't fry. When you hear fry or fried, run. How about that? Simply because health is wealth. The wealth is not in the bank. No account of any sort, whether it's investment, savings, checking, it doesn't matter. It's not in the bank. The wealth is not in your wallet, your purse, your pocket. And the wealth is definitely not under your mattress or in the shoebox in the closet. The wealth is in you, which is why I'm sure you listen to Acupuncture's My Life podcast. Now, next, I get all kinds of excuses as to why they consume this. And it's alcohol. Alcohol has been scientifically proven to elevate blood pressure as well as contribute to heart failure over time. There is no such thing as moderate consumption of alcohol in my book. And drinking alcohol often enough, it can lead to weight gain, chronic inflammation, which of course has a negative impact on heart health. No alcohol. If you're addicted to alcohol, you feel you are, make acupuncture part of your life, because we have special protocols that address drug and alcohol addiction. One of them being a NADA protocol. So if you feel you're addicted to drugs or alcohol, see an acupuncturist, inquire about the NADA protocol. They'll know what you're talking about. But you want to avoid alcohol at all costs. Another is butter. So many people globally use butter for cooking. Stay away from that. It's the biggest source of saturated fat, which increases your risk of heart attacks as well as strokes. The question becomes is, what are you using the butter for when you're using it to cook? And some will recommend healthy vegetable oils. The jury's out on that. How is it extracted from the vegetable and put in a bottle, where the value of it has been greatly damaged? Getting the oil directly from the plant to your mouth is the best way to consume vegetable oils. So, i.e., you want to look to stop frying foods. Cooking anything where the butter melts and it plays. Nope. Steamers and juicers should be your best friend by now if you've been listening to Acupuncture's My Life podcast from day one. Now, another terrible food, in my opinion, is flavored yogurts. And we see this on all types of media. Yogurt is so healthy. Especially flavored yogurts. It's loaded with fake sugar, which tends to lead to obesity, diabetes, heart disease, You want to avoid flavored anything, but in this case, flavored yogurt. Because this is all for your own good. Because you know what? Do me a favor. If you're lifting something heavy right now, I need you to rest it down. Just rest it down for a second. I don't care if you're in the gym working out, or you're moving furniture around your house, or it's a part of your job. It'll just take a second. And if you're operating a vehicle with wings, or propellers, landed at your nearest airport, if it has just wheels, pull over to the side of the road. And if you're crossing the street, hurry up and safely get across the street. Because now I need you to close your eyes. I need you to close your eyes, and I need you to say to yourself, acupuncture is my life. And now open them. Boom. You are now brand new, and brand new you are. Now, another type of food is canned soups. Yeah, it's convenient. Oh, when I'm not feeling well, I'm under the weather, I could just pop the lid off the can, pour it in the pot, heat it up for a couple of minutes, and just down it and go back to sleep. Nope. It's not going to help you. You feel a sickness coming on, especially like respiratory or whatever. Make yourself some vegetables. Just dice up some vegetables, and if you don't know what else to do or what else to put in that pot with the water, then just the vegetables will enrich that water in and of itself. Now you got a nice vegetable soup. Eat some of that if you don't want to chew on the vegetables. Just pour the water into a bowl and take it that way. Boom! You couldn't do yourself any more justice than that. Well, you can. You can get an acupuncture treatment to treat whatever you're suffering from. But after that, vegetable soup is next. But canned soup, tons of sodium. It can lead to water retention, just phlegm damp accumulation, which will destroy the spleen. If you're an acupuncturist, know this, and they explain it to their patients. High blood pressure, as well as an increased risk of heart disease. So you want to stay away from canned soup. Next, many of you are going to get upset, but ice cream. This is like a triple threat when it comes to heart health. Why? Because it's loaded with fake sugar, saturated fat. The third one, calories, the jury's out on that. But eating ice cream contributes to weight gain. It also increases your risk of heart disease. And I don't care if you put your fingers over your ears because you don't want to hear it. But you know me by now, you're going to hear it. And I'll close off with potato chips. Stay away from chips. Stay away from popcorn, crackers, any type of processed food you want to avoid at all costs. Because consuming processed foods on a daily basis leads to chronic inflammation, which you don't want to have to deal with. The best thing that you can do in your life is to simply make acupuncture a part of your life. Because acupuncture is my life. What's yours?